time has come. Our keynote this afternoon is delivered by Jetske Strijbos, working at U Hasselt in Belgium. Jetske brings a rare combination of extensive classroom experience, but also strong academic expertise, which aligns well actually with our EAPRIL ideas and our EAPRIL policy. And of course, that's why we asked her. Before entering academia, she spent over 15 years working directly in education, meaning teaching, teacher training, policy advising, and education management. At U Hasselt, within the U RISE research group, she now focuses on citizenship, difficult word, citizenship education, student participation, school connectedness, and dialogical learning in highly diverse and metropolitan settings. In her keynote today, Jetske will turn our attention to a challenge facing many democratic societies today. How increasing social fragmentation and polarization affect young people and their learning environments, and also how we can enhance dialogues in classroom. Please join me in warmly welcoming Jetske Strijbos.
Thank you so sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today. Really very much appreciated that I can do this talk with you, practitioners and researchers in education. Thank you also, Emmy, for this introduction, so I can go to the next slides already. I don't have to introduce myself, and that is really nice. What I do want to share with you is a story. I want to start this keynote with a story. When I was 5 years old, I started to play the violin. My parents encouraged me. I've really enjoyed it my whole childhood, adolescence. But at age 20, I started studying. I had to discover the world. There was no time left for the viola. I changed to the viola afterwards. So I quit. And then when I turned 40, I thought there was some more time in my life, in my daily life. So I thought, okay, let's start all over again. And I did. I really enjoyed it. I enrolled in the local music academy. I started up classes again, and I also joined the string orchestra of this academy. I've loved this new start for many reasons. One of the reasons, the first reason, is that I started in a position of a learner again. It was really nice to start learning at age 40. It was a privilege to just be a learner and do things that learners do in schools. And Second of all, I was at that moment a teacher educator, and I must say I have been very amazed by the work of my teacher at that moment. Was really good in music didactics, and he really could say, oh, do this and do that, and then suddenly it worked out. So I was truly amazed by the technicity he brought into this didactics. So I was a bit working up at the moments that I was playing violin as well. And the main reason, or the main thing why I liked starting up again, was the string orchestra. It was a small group with mostly adolescents, young people playing violin, cello, viola. And they were very talented, very passionate, they progressed so fast. And I really enjoyed being there and playing together. And this playing together, that is what this talk is about. So I will take you with me in this playful joining and playing together. So now it's your turn. Who plays or has played an instrument of you? Oh, look at that. I didn't expect that at all. So you all did. You recognize this. Okay, nice. Who has played or still plays in a group? Okay, also many of you. Did you like it? Do you like it? Yeah? And why do you do so? Yeah. Why do you like it? Yes. It's magical. Yeah, I agree. Other reasons? Being in harmony? Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. In the back. That's true. No, okay. Okay. Yeah. But it's true. It brings some extra in our lives. That is true, certainly. Yeah. Okay. But that is what we feel, what we experience. But let's dig deeper into that. What, according to you, all of you, and those who are not familiar with playing music, perhaps you can try to imagine what it would be to play music. Who likes, what are, according to you, the benefits of playing music together? Just add some words, add some short sentences in this Menti, and then we will figure out together why this is a good thing to do. Endorphins, yes. Oh, but this is nice to read. Aligning, connection, connectedness, joy, creating harmony, more alignment, learning, family feeling. Oh, beautiful, all beautiful. Yes. Let's have a look. Oh, we can go back. Still a lot of good things coming. Fun, community. It's getting very small. Respect. Yeah, creativity, inspiration, connections, Zoom. Okay. Let's go to research. It is out of interest that I have been looking to studies on playing together, playing music together, and for this specific keynote, it was useful as well. But I must say that I've learned a lot about it. Just a quick search learned me that playing music together has many benefits, and it's proven benefits on several domains: cognitive, emotional, social, artistic, also general life skills. And when we dig a bit deeper into that, when we dive a bit deeper into literature, we see that it is all about, you learn critical thinking when playing music together. You also learn harmony awareness when playing together. There is also like responsive communication skills. You learn communicating when playing together. So these are many, many benefits. And I must say, this is exactly what I felt, what I learned, what I experienced when I started playing music in an orchestra again. I forgot all this time between 20 and 40, age 20 and 40, because of other things, but I really enjoyed playing in this orchestra together, also with young people, just because of all these benefits. And what I noticed at that moment, I was doing research then about classroom discussions about learning democracy. I just noticed that my free time in the music academy and my professional life, they just merged. What I was studying in professional life, what I was experiencing in this music academy, it was the same feeling of connectedness. It was about feeling togetherness. It was about communicating together. So these parallels I saw, I would like to take you with, I would like to take you during this keynote with in this story. So we had already the prelude, and next for the next coming 40 minutes left, I guess, we will dig deeper, or we will dive deeper into 4 parts of this parallel. First of all, we will enter the concert hall. Entering the concert hall means that we will try to position ourselves in the situation where we are now in society. Polarization is an issue in society, and we will try to organize, we will try to find out where we are at that point, at this moment. Next, we will go to tuning the orchestra. That is the next step after entering the concert hall. We will try to tune ourselves, and we will find out from research what it is to disagree and to tune this disagreement, and what we know from literature and studies on that point. Next, we will perform a concerto. We will see how it works in practice, in education, in educational practice. How does that work, dialoguing together with disagreement? And then next, we will look forward, look ahead to the next season. What can we do in future? At the point of research, what can we do in educational practice to advance? So let's start. Entering the concert hall, polarization, where are we? Polarization is at this moment everywhere. It started in the last decade of the 20th century that we discovered that there was more and more polarization. Scientists found out that it was upcoming at that moment. There were first signs of polarization in society at that time. And now, 3 decades later, we see it is everywhere. It is in our daily news. It is on social media. It is also in policy at this moment. We see it, that it is used to divide society. And we can see, what is it actually, polarization? Well, polarization is very simple explained. It is about like-minded people in a group finding each other and finding strength in being together with each other and strengthening these like-mindedness. On the other side, you have other groups also like-minded, and these groups are dividing, are splitting, are evolving away from each other. And this separation, this is what polarization is about. If we look at research, we see that there are many different ways to discuss and to talk about polarization. There are many ways of operationalizing polarization. One of them is this the work of the VDEM Institute in Sweden that monitors hostile political camps. And you see here, it's just 2 not random years, and it's well taught. But you see here 1994. With in orange some regions, mostly in Asia and Africa, where there is some hostile political camps that can be noticed in these countries. 30 years later, 2024, you see that it is more and darker orange, and that it is like all over the world, in all continents, you see these kind of orange colored, even red colored countries. So there has been an evolution when it comes to political camps and hostile political camps across the world. Another way of establishing or operationalizing polarization is by the votes, the amount of votes on for anti-political establishment parties. This is a study that is done where was count how many percentage of what is the percentage of votes that goes to anti-political establishment parties over years. So this graph is about different countries all over the world on separate moments during the past 150 years. And you see that on the highest amount of votes goes to France. Fortunately, it is already more than almost a decade, almost a century ago, that it rated up to 50% of the voters that was voting anti-political establishment parties. And you see still now there are many countries that have high rates in this way. Fortunately, we are today in Malta. It's all on the right-hand side. It's the second lowest rate, so we are safe for today. Another way, a third way, there are many more ways, but I will just stick to three. This one I think is very interesting and very useful also for education. This is a way of operationalizing polarization by trust. In-party trust, out-party trust. There was a study in the 80s on trust towards people that were in the same party as parents and outside the party, the familiar party for parents. And you saw, I don't have the pointer, but perhaps trying to show, is it working? Oh, it is on. Yeah, I will just explain. If you see at 1980 among parents, you see that in-party trust and out-party trust is still quite close together. There is a difference, but they are still close. You see that adolescents, they score a bit higher on trust, but still they show the same pattern. There is a difference. In-party trust is the upper level, of course. Out-party trust is the lower level. You see in the 80s, also for adolescents, there is some slight difference between in and out-party trust, but they are still close together. In 2019, there was a replica study done by Tyler and his colleagues, and they have seen that measuring in the same way, there is a big difference between in-party trust and out-party trust. So parties are growing more and more apart from each other. And what is perhaps a bit scary even, that is that adolescents are following this trend. So their children, even at age 11, follow the opinions and the trust parents hold towards individuals from other parties. So this means that children at age 11, they have noticed that they have observed this in schools, that children at age 11 don't want to play with children whose parents are voting for another party. So this means that this divide, this polarization is coming into our schools, and we have to be very aware of that. I will not dig too deep into the causes of this, but I will just summarize a bit based on the work of Herman Abs, who has been looking for causes of polarization. He found out that the main cause is social division. Social division in society causes a lot of other causes, second causes that are related to polarization, like, for example, alienation from political institutions, also rejection of democratic institutions, like, for example, the Capitol attack, or denying processes, democratic processes, passing them by, going straight towards own ideas and laws. Another cause is, of course, populist discourses that are held by politicians as well. Typical for them is that they make a very complex world, the very complex world we're living, very easy, they simplify it towards one cause, one problem, and they think they can solve the complex problem by just finding a very simple solution. So this is not in agreement or not aligning with the complex context that we live in. Consequences are both on the collective and individual dimension. Collective, in a way, we have already talked about trust. You could see that growing this trust both in society and politics, but also on the individual level. That means that individuals are disengaging, sometimes even radicalizing. This is a danger for democracy that is clear, but what we want to talk about is what is the role of the school in this? How can we deal with that in classrooms, in schools? Because, of course, we see the children a lot, many hours a day, and we have an impact. We know we can't solve the whole problem. Of course, there are many other influences, but we can contribute to it. So what do we need to know? We look at tuning the orchestra, and I think disagreement, or that is a point that I would like to make. Disagreement is some an interesting, at least an interesting concept to really understand in the context of education. So we will dive deeper into that. Tuning the orchestra. You imagine you all have been probably to concerts. I can imagine you have heard orchestras tuning, and I would like to invite you to think about, and now there is this Menti. Okay. What pops up in your mind when hearing this? And I hopefully manage to.
Take 5 minutes to reset your spine, restore your energy, and feel fully renewed. This is the Omni Stretch Massage from Libernovo. It's not just a break, it's a full body reset. It gently stretches your lower spine, melts deep tension, and creates space where pressure builds up. Looser muscles, better circulation.
Now we are there. I'm sorry. And this is recorded. Okay, you're quick with your answers. Trying, chaos, absolutely. Tuning, anticipation, coming together. Alignment, noise, absolutely. Tune in, loud, false. Yeah, laughter as well. Yeah, beauty, dissonance, promising, it says. Yeah, absolutely. This is like the first phase of coming together and playing, making something really beautiful. So tuning indeed is actually the phase where you start to prepare, where you prepare for a concert and where voices are coming together. It is a phase of chaos, but it is also a phase of listening to each other, listening to yourself as well, and trying to find harmony, trying to tune, trying to come together. And this is what this phase is all about. And that is such an important moment before a concert. We can't live in harmony. We can't do without this phase. So I will zoom into this, especially this moment of disagreeing, this moment of disagreement before a concert starts. And I would like to take you to a study that we've done, that we've conducted a few years ago in the context of collaborative inquiry. It was a study where students and teachers collaborated together on school development. Students and teachers were performing together. They had together a topic that they were exploring through phases. So first of all, it was a topic where there was a problem. They found the problem statement. Afterwards, they have been looking for data at the school, literature that was related to this problem. They together came to a plan of action. They tried out, they tested out, and then they evaluated this plan. So like just a cycle of action research, but they did it together, teachers and students in harmony. And that was the reason why we studied it, because it was kind of a special setting where, teachers and students wanted to collaborate. The topic of this story, there were several groups that were doing this collaborative inquiry, but one of the groups worked on pressure through tasks coming from or appearing in smart school or Blackboard communities environments where tasks were popping up in the digital environment of the school. And what we wanted to know, what we were interested in, is what happens around this table and how do they come to a shared decision? How do they during this process, they had to make a lot of decisions decisions about what data to gather, decisions about the problem statement, decisions about the actions they wanted to take, decisions about the future, and so on. So many decisions had to be taken, and we wanted to know what happens around this table and how these groups were coming to these decisions. And we used, therefore, we used the concept of deliberative communication. We wanted to know how they come, and deliberative communication is about, in a respectful way, putting all the perspectives on the table and try to come to a mutually agreed upon decision. This is what deliberative communication is about. So what did we do? We had all the meetings of the teachers and students, we recorded them. And out of all these records, all these audio files, we selected the deliberative communicative episodes. So the deliberative episodes where students and teachers came to the shared decision. So these parts of the communication, we took them out and we analyzed them. Looking first of all to communicative functions. Who is doing what action in this communication? And second, we were looking at arguments. What kind of arguments are used and what are the features of these arguments? For arguments, regarding the arguments, we notice that there are four strategies. Either students can agree or participants can agree or can disagree. A second way of putting an argument at the table is to do this in an objective way, using facts, using figures, using objective outputs that they have seen, or they can do it in a subjective way, finding something, experiencing something, and reporting on that. And when you put them together, you can, of course, have like these quadrants with agreement in an objective way, agreement in a subjective way, disagreement in an objective way, disagreement in a subjective way. And these strategies, we have found them all over these deliberative episodes. We found patterns in this, and this is what I really think was interesting in this study. We found patterns that were very easy. I say something, someone agrees, another one agrees, everyone agrees, and we come to the point where we make a decision. It's actually the starting point that is the same as the end point. We all agree, so we agree upon the start. This was very easy, no disagreement at all. Then there was a pattern where there was only disagreement. Someone states something and everyone is disagreeing. And at the end, they come to the point that they decide not to agree upon this. Or they decide, okay, we do not agree with the starting point, so we take the opposite decision. Also very easy, very straightforward. People are trying to find each other in agreeing or disagreeing. But then there was this most substantive and candid discussions where disagreement and agreement were turning all the time, where there was an initial quote, an initial statement that was agreed upon, but then suddenly someone says, but wait, I think or I experience something in a different way. I have another point that I would like to add to this. And there was this agreeing, disagreeing all the time. And this made the discussion really, really interesting. It was both for students as for teachers, the most interesting, the best parts of the whole year. It was a trajectory of a whole year. Every time we had this elaboration, these patterns of consensus after elaboration, where disagreement and agreement were both in parts of the communication. These were the best moments during the whole year. So both valued by teachers and students. So disagreement together with agreement is actually very important to come to a shared decision that is thought through and where different perspectives come together. This is just an example, but I think regarding the time, we will not dive too deep into this. I can just tell that this was about the stress and the pressure that students experienced, starting with students that say, okay, but when I get a task at a certain moment, I feel really pressured. I don't want this moment I really hate it when it comes right before my weekend and I see a lot of tasks popping up in my app. I don't want this. And then the teachers, they really try to understand, yes, we understand this. I can agree with that. How can we solve it? Students did a proposal how to solve it, but then the teacher said, no, I don't agree with this proposal. That has a huge impact on my weekend, on my spare time, on my free time, on my organization. And they argued why that was difficult. Students understood. Just because there was a discussion about it, they explained why they disagreed. Very simple. It's about something that is not emotionally loaded, but it was so important that they had this discussion, dived very deep into the arguments. Why do I propose this? Why do I think that? And so on. It's just a very simple example. We had quite many of them, and this made true understanding. And this is how we found true understanding between students and teachers. In another study we found, I will not just show you this model, we found that in a review study, we found it also in other studies, that disrupting is very important. Disruption of like a normal situation, something that is found normal, when you disrupt this, and it is not a huge disruption, then students or teachers, participants start to reflect. And because they're like, surprised what is happening, they didn't expect it very often, start to reflect, and this reflection opens up for repositioning and changing a situation. That is exactly what happened in this practical educational research, in this communication research we did. So just to say that it is so important to value disagreement in very daily life school contexts. Performing the concerto. Now we are going to the classroom. What do we do in classrooms? Well, that is dialogues. We see dialogues all the time, and we can use them in a good way. So I would like to ask you, how can students learn to deal with something is going wrong here. Other perspectives. How can we induce, how can we stimulate this disagreement we just talked about? Do you have any ideas or suggestions or experiences, perhaps, that you would like to share with us? Student councils. Being a good model, yes, indeed. Scaffolding prompts, yeah. Organizing debates, guiding discussions or guided discussions, academic discussions, yeah. Interesting things are following, yeah. Know their own identity, absolutely. Just by meeting others, you can also become aware of your own identity. Storytelling, that's an interesting one. We come back to that later. Reflection, learning how to extricate emotional responses from arguments, absolutely, absolutely. We've seen interesting things when doing this research with subjective arguments. We saw that they were quite often used to pressure each other, and that is something to become very aware of in a discussion. That is interesting that you mentioned this here. Thought experiment, role-playing assignments, and so on. Thank you for this input, indeed. And I see many of these inputs you gave are about dialogue and relationships, finding each other, communicating with each other. And indeed, of course, that helps to become aware and to exercise in disagreement. We did a study on school connectedness, and I know some of you are very familiar with this model. We did a study on school connectedness. We asked students from several schools, different schools, to reflect in depth on when do you feel connected to your school? When do you feel at home? And under what conditions is that? And what was quite surprising is that they mentioned many emotions. So this is all the senses are related to school connectedness. And you see sense of respect, sense of togetherness. These are all the senses that students really value in feeling connected or really need to feel connected. But on top, you see the drivers to come to these feelings. And one of them, I want to just pick out that one, is the quality of relationships. Quality of relationships with other students, but also with their teachers. These are foremost, these are the most important ones. It's always mentioned in every situation by almost all the students individually. Quality of relationships makes them feel connected to their school. What does that mean, and how do we relate that to dialogue? Well, it means that for students, and we ask the students, what do you mean by this relationship? What do you need in this relationship? Well, they told each one, in all the schools, in all the groups, students mentioned a positive stance. They really ask teachers and staff at the school to start from a positive stance, also from a caring stance. It's the second here. Caring without patronizing. What they insist for the students is that they want to be cared for. They want to feel this positive vibe, this first good starting point, and feel that they are cared for by their teachers. But on the other hand, they also want to take responsibility in this relationship. They want to give something back, and they want to be on in a mutual communication. And that exceeds just a one-way traffic, communicative traffic. But interesting for this talk is, of course, the reciprocal conversations. Students were really actually asking their teachers to start genuine dialogues. They are very curious about norms and values of their teachers. They have their own frames of reference, but they are very curious about how is it for others and how is it for my teachers. And they want to get to know and they want to get acquainted with the norms and values of their teachers, and they want to talk about it. Teachers sharing their perspectives, their individual perspectives, is much appreciated. And I know that there is a whole discussion about being neutral and being neutral as a teacher. That's not what the students ask. Students ask, yeah, learn me how to see differences as well. And you are someone who is guiding me. I'm very curious about your stance and your position as well. Yeah, it's finding a balance, of course, between pressuring students and opening up for them. So it includes they are asking for disagreement, actually. So this is interesting. It's needed to have a good conversation, and students are asking it. Another example here, this is this former study with we used a photo voice method. So we asked the students not only to talk about their school connectedness, but we also asked them to picture it, to make photographs, several photographs of moments or symbols when they felt connected to their schools, and we asked them to explain it and to write a caption with the picture. And a duo of students wrote this. I will just read it together with you because I think there is a lot in it, and it might be nice to just know all the dimensions the students mentioned here. This photo is called Up is Down. We took a picture of the hallway. We simply photographed it from above, but then we flipped it, and it looks like if we were walking on the ceiling. This photo also views the hallway from a special perspective, just like school does. School teaches you to look at the world from different perspectives and viewpoints. It gives you a very different view of society than what you learn at home. Some people grow up with politically influenced perspective at home, shaping how they see the world. At school, you learn much more. We learn many different things. You learn about the world, things we otherwise would never have known, and that way we can restructure everything or rethink it in our minds. So just to illustrate, students ask for differences. They ask for several perspectives. They ask for friction and disagreement. But what do we see? In ICCS, you know ICCS? Yeah, the International Study on Citizenship Education, conducted the last time in 2022. And it has many scales, many dimensions. There are a lot of good things happening worldwide, but also some concerns. And one of the concerns is that this scale or this scale on perceptions of openness in classroom discussions, that it is lowering, that it is diminishing. We see that the measurement in 2016 2009 and 2022, when we look at the different measurements, we see that it is systematically lowering, that students feel that there is lesser openness to have dialogues, open classroom dialogues over the years. And especially in times of polarization, where school can do fantastic work to open up for discussion, to open up for disagreement in schools and different perspectives, we see that students notice lowering this openness. So that is, we need to be concerned about that. And we also see it in our study, the first study I discussed about the communication. I talked already about the argumentation and the different arguments we found in the discussions among students and teachers. We also found that we also have been looking at the communicative functions in these discussions. And we found, this is very interesting, I think, that when students and teachers have the time and have the opportunity to discuss together with each other, that they have equal substantiating acts. They add in an equal amount content to the discussion. They have, all of them, contents, they add content to the discussion. They have arguments that are like having this discussion growing and substantiating. You see 80 and 80, these are the amounts. It's just from one extraction from one school. You see the substantiating acts by both students and teachers. On the other hand, you see that structuring acts, when teachers and students are put together in this discussion, the teachers are not taking extra initiative or initiative to structure the discussion. And actually, more by coincidence, there were also teacher educators around this table. They were not having a real function at that moment during this study, but they saw that there was not enough structure to have a good discussion. So they took over. They systematically did in all the cases. And they started to structure the discussion. So what we learn from this, that is that if we want to have a good discussion, of course you need content, but you also need structure. And if you want to have discussions with your students, you of course need to structure that as well, or at least start to structure this. We need someone who guides the discussion. So teachers matter. Teachers matter to initiate the disagreement, to initiate the discussions, and we need it, but we also see that teachers hesitate to do so. And that is exactly what is happening in the ICCS data. But when classrooms fall silent, like we see in ICCS, democracy loses its training ground, and that is not what we need. So I would just ask you, can we do this more and can we do this better? So looking ahead to next season, I want to discuss some about the possibilities for future research, but also for educational practice. Future research, what we need, I think, is disagreement. We have to have disagreement in a balanced way to stimulate a good and constructive dialogue and to throw polarization away. We have to have such good dialogues that we can dismantle polarization, that we have some counterbalance in this. And what can we do for that? I think we need some advancement in we need to better understand what is happening in dialogues among teachers and students. Dialogue for reducing polarization, I think I made that point clear, but we also have to be aware that not all dialogue is good dialogue, that not all dialogue is diminishing polarization. There are risks in having dialogues and perspectives and sharing perspectives. Of course, we can also do wrong in stimulating dialogues. So we need to be more aware about the conditions of good and depolarizing dialogue. So we need more and better insights. And I think we can, if we do so, if we do extra research on this point for argumentative strategies, I think we can grow in inclusivity and in respectfulness, and we can understand better the depth and emotional engagement in argumentation. Some of you have already mentioned it in one of the mentees. This emotional part of engagement is really important, and we need to know more about that. AI can help us, I guess. I think we need to register more and better what is happening in dialogues. And Gen AI are actually language-based models. We can use them also to better understand the dialogues. Natural language processing might be a way, and there are many methods within natural language processing that we can use. For example, stance detection can be interesting. It identifies whether a text or a conversation agrees, disagrees, or is neutral. It might help us to really truly see through what is happening in a dialogue. Also, sentiment analysis, as you said, this emotional aspect. What is happening? Are people feeling not so well in a discussion? This is the point where we are taking risks also. It is good to have some friction and to go on with emotions, but it's also good to be aware where to stop. And this can perhaps sentiment analysis can help us in grasping this critical point where we have to stop or where we have to regulate more and better. Of course, the other modes are more about the content of a discussion. Also, that is interesting. But I think mostly the sentiment analysis and stance detection are very interesting ways forward to do research on. In classrooms, some of you have already proposed storytelling or reflection or finding ways to start dialogues in a creative manner. And I look a bit at Elke, we have done a really nice project not so long ago about how to stimulate participation through art and stimulate discussion through art. We've made a guide. It's in Dutch and it's free. So those who can read it or those who want to translate it, you can just find it online. It is a participatory arts-based method guide that we made. And we've done this based on the research that we've created this based on the research that we've done earlier on participatory methods to start discussions. We actually use them to find students' voices, to stimulate students to raise their voice and to start talking, to start discussing. It is also a way to have not only students becoming aware of their own voice and sharing it with others, it's also a good way to create multi-perspectival awareness, knowing that there are other voices, just understanding them. And these creative methods, when you use them in a good way and in a very concise way, then you can it creates a safe space to open up these different perspectives. And you can create constructive friction that is necessary to change, that is necessary to create openness to understand also other perspectives, but also constructive. The friction won't be too large, won't be too high, because that would bring us in a perhaps difficult situation. Here you see some of the extracts of some examples. What we worked, for example, on political figures, contested political figures. We also worked with photographs about connectedness. I showed you one of the pictures that we that we got through one of these arts-based methods. Mental maps, we've used them also to learn more about home environments and talk about it, how good home learning environments can be made and so on. There are many, many, many ways to use arts to start talking and discussing in a quite in-depth way from where the perspectives of each individual student is valued. So before opening the floor for discussion, I would like to end this story, this musical story as well. When 2 years ago, this music academy where I was enrolled in celebrated its 75th birthday. And the principal at that time, he was very engaged with organizing a concert. And he didn't just want to organize a concert, he wanted to organize a symphonic orchestra that played a symphony for a lot of people in a huge concert hall. So he organized it in this way that he had a huge choir, he had a huge orchestra, he had dancers, and he made a real fantastic moment out of it. But what was actually very special was that he was not only inviting the pupils from his academy to participate in this, he also invited professional musicians from the neighborhood area. He invited the teachers to join and to learn also the smaller and the very young pupils from his academy who actually were not really ready to play in a symphonic orchestra, to prepare them to be part of this group and to participate. He also engaged people from the symphonic orchestra from Liège to participate in this group, and he asked old students, former students from the academy to join. So this became a really huge group that was very engaged during a whole year to prepare for this concert. It was a very, very nice experience for all participants at that time. And it was really moving, I think. For me, it was like not just playing together, but it was playing together in a very inclusive way, finding means to have smaller kids, larger kids, professional, amateurs, all playing together. It was really a very nice moment of where a lot of different voices came together to create something very beautiful and very connecting. And this is actually what I hope for our students and our pupils in schools, that they can experience within the school these kind of moments where they feel connected, where they feel together, where they feel that there is some disagreement or difficult moments that they have to encounter, but where they are supported by others to become better and more. So that was my story today. Now the floor is open for discussion. Immediately one is, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
About deliberative communication, I've got a question. Did the teachers and the students discuss subjects that could be described as controversial?
No, when we look at this moment at controversial topics, then we have some things in our minds, like, for example, historical or political issues or gender diversity. We have these topics in our minds. In this study, we did not take those topics at the center. It was more, it was about school development. So the school chose topics, but it was all topics where change was needed. So it's not a controversial issue as probably you have in your mind, but it was a topic where there was friction about in the organization of the school at that moment, where there are some issues that had to be tackled. So in that sense, it's not controversial, but it all were topics where was friction at the baseline. So yeah. That was your question. Okay. Are there some other questions? Okay.
Thank you for this good presentation. You said at a certain moment that students don't ask teachers to be neutral. Of course, we all know that we shouldn't always do what students ask in our classrooms. So I was wondering, when should we be neutral as a teacher? Because sometimes we do have to do that. And especially if we take into account social inequality, we know that students from lower SES, that they often have more problems with not following what teachers say. So maybe we are not empowering then these students when the teacher is never neutral.
Yeah, that is a good and hard question. Yeah, I must say that I don't have this fixed answer to this. I just don't think that, of course, we have to be very careful in not being neutral as well. But being neutral, it's also the question, can we be not neutral? I don't think we can not be neutral, that we can be not neutral. No. It is very hard to be neutral. Huh? So it is something that lays some difficulty upon a relationship to build with the students if you want to keep away from all genuine experiences or thoughts. So I think we should know more about it. I don't know if we have a fixed answer for now. I just know that it is a question from the students and we have to be careful with it. So it is for now, I just think we need to find a balance, not imposing our thoughts, not demanding students to think in the same way. I think we should open up for different voices and for different possibilities. And when students ask, for your opinion or for your way of looking at things, I think we should not immediately say, no, this is not, we should not talk about it because I have to be neutral. I just think it strengthens, or we know that it strengthens the relationship with students if you keep it open or if you open up for possibilities. Of course, it's not always possible, and you have to see in the context if you're not imposing it unintendedly. So yeah, it is hard to find a balance in that. But now we hide sometimes a bit behind. We have to be neutral, and it's something that we use as an argument to not dig deeper into very difficult topics sometimes. So it's just for now something to think about. How can we open up discussions, and how can we be as a teacher be more genuine in this discussion with students? But I don't have a right solution for your answer. I'm sorry for that. But I think it's worthwhile to look at it and to dig some deeper in it and to find ways of working on this topic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some more questions. There is Elke, someone behind.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I was wondering, we talked about being neutral as a teacher, and I think that comes from a place where you want to do as good as possible in leading the discussion. Have you found more of those behaviors that are done with the best intentions, but actually have the opposite effects in leading a discussion?
Yes. We also have seen, and that is something I didn't explain that, but what we also have seen is that I think of two patterns that we've seen now. One is the use of the subjective arguments. We've seen very strange things in that. We sometimes have seen that teachers are aware of the loyalty that students have towards them. And they sometimes use emotional arguments to, in a way, insist on following their argument. Sounds negative, but it's more nuanced than that. But we see that sometimes these emotional arguments are used to get something done. So that is one pattern that we've seen. Another one is more about the students when they are sometimes they have a lot of expectations when they are involved in a discussion, when they feel heard. They also have expectations that what they are telling is used in educational practice. When they, for example, like in this way, in this study, they have been working on school development. They had a lot of good ideas. They had a lot of experience that they have shared in a very genuine and also emotionally loaded way. And sometimes they found that it was really hard to not expect that something was done with that. So just by opening up and sharing their thoughts, they hope and they expect implicitly that something is done with it. And that is not always possible, of course, because you have so many different perspectives. You have also an organization where you have to fit in. So this is something that I would advise to be very aware of as a teacher or teacher educator, that it is really important to discuss with them during the process what is possible to be done with that and what not, so they can decide what they share and what they are not sharing. So these are two patterns that I found in, I don't know if this was an answer to your question.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Okay, I think we close. Thank you so much